Hello and welcome back to the channel. So in part one, we talked about enjoyment and how that differs from pleasure. In part two, we're going to talk about satisfaction. So what is satisfaction? It is the contentment of a job well done, something that takes some effort, right? Something that takes a struggle. This is deferring the immediate gratification for that delayed, satisfaction, to use the term. So this concept is something that Arthur Brooks goes into a lot of detail in his book here. So with satisfaction, you have to work hard to get there. If a student, cheats to get that A, fine, they get the grade, but they don't get the satisfaction, never mind the knowledge base and being able to use it out in the world. In our area in healthcare, a lot of students, they have to get the A in order to be competitive and get into the program that they want to get into, but much more worth their effort to go through the work, achieve that long-term goal of making it through the coursework and getting that A. They'll also get the satisfaction out of it. Another example is working hard to get the job that you've been pushing so hard for. Maybe seeing your child graduate from middle school, from high school, going to college. That takes years. These are long-term projects, right? So satisfaction, interestingly enough, comes from a little bit of pain, a little bit of effort. This is kind of one of those paradoxes of life. You got to suffer a little bit to get that satisfaction. You have to defer that gratification. Very accomplished people, high achievers, strivers, so to speak. These are all people that are very good at satisfaction. They are good at doing long-term projects to get the job done. Physicians are certainly part of this group. You got to go through a lot of schooling and years to get where you're going to be. And this is where things get rather interesting. It's very hard to keep satisfaction if you're just seeking pleasures only. Those dopamine hits don't really drive satisfaction, right? That new car smell wears off in a couple months. Unfortunately, we go back to our homeostasis. People that win the lottery, within a couple months, they are right back to where they were. That new flat screen TV looks great, but within a couple weeks, you're saying, I don't know, I think I want the bigger one. So nature is kind of funny that way. Nature drives those dopamine rushes in order to get you coming back, right? To find that food, to find that mate, since food sources and procreation are not guarantees in life if you're out in the wild. In modern life, when we have access to everything, we just seek those hits. We need sweeter and sweeter sugar, right? We need bigger and bigger cars. This is why as humans, we get fooled into just searching for something better. This is part of homeostasis. It's designed to get you ready for the next stimulus. You get a quick hit of satisfaction, right? Finding that sweet berries or some food source out in nature, that quick satisfaction dissipates to get you ready for the next stimulus or danger or threat, right? To keep you alive so that lion doesn't eat you. And a lot of this is driven by emotions. And recall from part one, emotions come from the limbic system deep in our brain. It is not in the cerebral cortex. It is buried down there. It is to help you survive. We evolved this way. Mother Nature can't let you stay satisfied. You can get satisfaction. It's just hard to keep that satisfaction. And this is because of homeostasis, right? This is the grass is greener mentality. We need the next thing, right? The better car, the bigger house, more money. Comparing yourself and your misery to other people who seem happier, you just become jealous of them. And this is where you look at their house, their yard, their grass, and say, oh, their grass is greener, theirs is better. Of course, when you walk over the street and get there, you find out it's artificial turf. Right? Grass is greener mentality just does not work. But still, you become jealous of them. So you seek some other material object, right? This'll do it. This'll make me happy. You just keep running and chasing the, grass is greener, the next big thing. And what ends up happening is you keep running, but you're on a treadmill. You're not getting anywhere. And this is called the hedonic treadmill. And the hedonic treadmill is very painful. We are seeking rewards, but they are not aligned with our true goals. They say there are 4 extrinsic rewards out there in life, or the 4 false idols. And these are, we all kind of know them, money, power, pleasure, and fame. And these are the classic wrong dreams that ultimately lead to a worse life. However, if you compare that to intrinsic rewards, right? Personal achievement, professional growth, a sense of accomplishment, good relationships, and love. People that seek intrinsic rewards are truly happier. And this is the so-called striver's curse, right? You have big dreams. Maybe you're a great medical student. You tried so hard. You just hammered away an internship. You worked all those hours and all those years to get where you are. All noble causes, by the way. You're a high achiever. These people are all over medicine. However, if you are on that hedonic treadmill and you're not realizing that what you're after, money, power, pleasure, fame, well, no matter how much you get of those rewards, you may still be unhappy because you're just wanting more and more and more, and you just keep falling back to homeostasis, back and back and back, and ultimately you are, well, misaligned. And what we need to do is align our desires with our goals and try to perhaps figure out why we want those extrinsic rewards and shift those and turn them into intrinsic rewards. And one way to solve that in Arthur Brooks's book is, well, a simple math equation. And since I'm a numbers guy, that aligns with me. And this is simply, you have to divide your halves over your ones. Right? The secret to get more satisfaction, unfortunately, is not by wanting more, but wanting less. Right? Satisfaction equals halves divided by ones. And an example to illustrate this is how different artists can approach creating a masterpiece. On the one hand, some people say, you start with an empty canvas, right? And you have to build and create and add more and more things, more and more brush strokes to that canvas to ultimately make your masterpiece. But at some point, if you keep adding and adding and adding, well, the canvas can become a little messy. And at some point, you start to tip in the wrong direction. And by adding more and more and more, it's actually making the art messier. The classic example is one of the Jackson Pollock paintings, where things can get so busy, if you add one more brush stroke, it's, well, gonna get worse. And if you are ultimately looking for satisfaction and you keep adding more and more extrinsic rewards in your life, another TV, a bigger car, I gotta buy a boat, I don't know, whatever you may think makes you happy, it's likely money, power, pleasure, and fame. These things are not actually adding to the masterpiece of your life. Contrast that to another artist that starts with a block of stone, right? The masterpiece is there. You are that block of stone. The way to get to your masterpiece of life is by taking more and more away, taking more and more out of your life, things you don't need, a lot of them extrinsic rewards. And then what you reveal is your masterpiece, your happiness in life. This is how you can seek success in your life. Take away all the extraneous parts, all the unneededs, all the distractions that aren't inherently you. And the same parallels run in medicine. We are so busy in clinic, doing projects, manuscripts and papers, people working in the hospital, nights and weekends. There are so many extra add-ons and admin work and distractions that it just takes away from the masterpiece, right? It takes away from the art of medicine. It does not allow you to practice the way you want to. But if you can slowly get rid of all of those, well, unnecessary pieces, you are much likely to be happier and get more satisfaction out of your work. So once we realize why we want these things, these extrinsic rewards, we often find out it is, well, one of the 4 false idols, and perhaps, well, you don't need this now. Maybe that FOMO starts to melt away. Many people, well, and me included, have written a bucket list, right? What are all the things you want to accomplish in life? And when you write them down, actually putting them on paper, you start to see that half of the things you put down there, well, they might be extrinsic rewards, right? I want to go bungee jumping when I turn 50 years old, something like that. Well, what are you really looking for there? A little bit of, right, power, a little bit of fame, telling everyone else, I went bungee jumping, how cool is that? Once you write things down in your bucket list and you realize on paper just how extrinsic some of those rewards are, you can start to learn to detach yourself from those extrinsic rewards and seek what you're really, well, looking for in these bucket list achievements. So in my example of bungee jumping, I don't want to go bungee jumping. I thought I wanted to go hang gliding when I turned 40. When you write it down, you think, gee, I'm looking for some kind of thrill, some kind of adrenaline. Yes, a little bit of dopamine. Now maybe I should turn that into enjoyment and also carry that forward into satisfaction. How should I do that? Well, maybe I should invite a friend and go hike a mountain. That could take an entire day or an entire weekend to summit to the top of the mountain. Go camping with them. Camp out at the top of the mountain and spend some quality time. Build bonds, build friendship, right? So now you are incorporating people and you are building memory, right? Those are the two components to turn pleasure into enjoyment. Turn enjoyment into satisfaction, well, this is going to take a long time. You probably need to train to get to the top of Mount Whitney, for example, 14,000 feet. You can't just do that right off the bat on a weekend. So now you are delaying that instant gratification and working hard and training, and maybe you're getting in touch with your friend to see how their progress is as you are getting closer and closer to the event. And perhaps when you get to the top of that mountain, maybe there's a helicopter you can get in and it flies you over a lake that you can jump out of, and then you can get that dopamine rush. But you're doing it with a friend, and you are certainly going to build a memory doing that. There you go. Sometimes you might find that what's on your bucket list, or just what you want in life, are clearly misaligned with your true goals at heart. So, for example, maybe I want that fancy car. Okay, that's a power play. Maybe I want some ice cream in the house at all times when I'm tired. Okay, that's a pleasure. Maybe I want to go on some amazing Hawaii vacation. Well, there's a little bit of fame there. Once you realize what you're doing, you can start writing them down, detaching yourself from the extrinsic rewards and the pleasure, and find out what would really drive satisfaction. And you can dominate this. You can short circuit Mother Nature and get control, right? Mother Nature doesn't care if you are happy. It is all about survival, passing on the DNA. It's not about happiness. And so satisfaction, especially in the second half of life, this guy, is all about math. Halves divided by ones. And maybe, just maybe, at the top of that mountain, after months and months of training and you're in that rarefied air, you may have a transcendental moment in life and start to think about, what is my purpose? What is my deep meaning? Which just happens to be part 3. Again, I highly recommend you to pick up that book, From Strength to Strength, Finding Success and Happiness, Deep Purpose in the Second Half of Your Life. I certainly got a lot out of it, and I hope to see you in part 3.